Hi there, how you doing? Very good morning and welcome to Smart Men's Business. I'm Andrew Bariji with Masika Tsumi this morning. So we're going to be driving your business with quite a lots of very interesting conversations. And remember, today is the budget day, of course, the long-awaited day as the government is going to be delivering the 52.7 trillion budget just today, and of course quite lots of anticipations really happening in there. People can't really wait. You know, Marcia, I know you've been waiting for this day too, and now it's finally here. We started all the way from 6:30. Of course, very grateful for you staying tuned, being patient all the way from 6:30 as we've been giving you the news recap. Just in case you missed out yesterday's bulletin, that is business today at exactly 9 p.m. Well, you can always catch up the recap of the stories early this morning, and definitely you'll stay informed as you know. As one of the ways you can actually also use when it comes to decision implementation, you know, and something very vital for your business growth and development. Yeah, but of course, before we get into any other stories today, don't forget the markets on the Zabo platform, which are going to be opening anytime from now for you to be a part of the
no data, no problem. Zabo.
Where you'll be availed with a number of options to buy government bonds and securities. Yes, with as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now the markets will be opening at 8:15 a.m. running up to 3:15 p.m. East African time, and this is effective Monday up to Friday. Like, of course, this entire week I didn't have any public holiday, so it's been quite a huge drive all the way from Monday up to tomorrow. Except, of course, the coming weekend, you won't be able to access these markets. But anyway, this is the cycle. Monday up to Friday, you make yourself some good money as you're trading stocks. I've made this a reality. So many people are scared because of the paperwork that is involved. But right now, there is the paperwork. Now, Zabo simply says, my money, my future. And Doltex East Africa tells you, let's do something new for yourself. Do something new for yourself in the year 2023. Well, of course, in our morning call, going to be relying much more on, you know, the long-awaited day 15th today, as the budget is going to be, you know, really read out there. And remember, the biggest aspect that we need to understand about this budget, it's more, you know, like there is that aspect of the program approach, which probably might seem a little bit complex. But today, as we are going to be proceeding on the program, we're going to be, of course, having further discussions in relation to that particular, you know, aspect of understanding the program-based budget. We shall be having experts, you know, explaining to us how this all applies. But remember, maybe just to give you clarity on this, I get to realize that sometimes the budget, some programs are allocated and they belong to about two sectors, something which is quite very beneficial. So you can find that if a program can be put up there and a number of sectors are benefiting, health could be benefiting, education could be benefiting, and all that, so many aspects, all of those men come in a way, you know, and they work together. So preparations, of course, already underway for the longer wait. The relevant stakeholders, the civil society organizations are also putting in out there to make sure that they really bring out the best. And of course, it's very also important to be a witness when this budget is being read out there, so that when it comes to accountability related cases, at least you have a case, you have a place where you're starting in from when it comes to implementation and so many other related aspects. Well, yes, it's exactly 10 minutes past 7. Smart Men's Business, your daily kickstarter of the day, as we are here to give you the right business information, quite very relevant and essential when it comes into decision making and implementation as a CEO. Well, right about now, let's get into the press and take a look at what's making headlines. With me here, I have the new vision, and Masika Tsumi is going to be taking us through what's transpiring, of course, in the Daily Monitor in there. Of course, just to kickstart off with the new vision, we see some aspect here of course, 6 OPM bosses remanded. Yes, OPM bosses remanded over 6.9 billion And of course, this is matters to do with the office of the Prime Minister. And of course, we look also at 5,400 older persons to benefit from the 5 billion shilling grant. Out there, of course, you will be getting further more details when you get yourself a copy. And of course, government delivers 52.7 trillion budget today. And there are quite lots of, here on the top page, the program allocations. You get to understand as you get yourself further this copy as you get further discussions in relation to that. Mercy, what do we have on the top there? What's making headlines?
Oh, well, good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, actually, the 15th, the long-awaited day for me.
For you?
Yeah, for me, actually. I want this people to know what it entails, the fact that the budget is different from other years. It's now a program-based. Of course, we're trying out.
It's one of its kind.
We're trying out something new for Uganda, and we hope it will actually work out. And of course, the new budget must cut costs of living, that is according to experts, and of course allocations out of the whole budget. We have human capital development, which accounts for 18%, that is 9.5 trillion, and of course governance security, which accounts for 14%, and it is at 7.5 trillion. And then we have transport infrastructure, that is 8.5%, which is 4.4 trillion. And of course private sector development at 3.5%, which covers 1.8 trillion, and development plan implementation at 3.4%, which covers 1.8, agro-industrialization 3.3%, that is 1.7 trillion, sustainable energy development at 2.8%, and it is at 1.4 trillion. And lastly, regional balanced development at 2%. That is how the national budget is going to be rotating. Like you've seen, it's there are programs, and definitely, I mean, they'll give us explanation on why it's a program-based budget for now. And of course, we are seeing the trends of for the last 6 years. The budget has gone on increasing from 2019 from 32.7 trillion to now 2023-2024 to 52.7 trillion. We are here to find out why the budget goes on increasing year in, year out. And of course, at 6:00 p.m., another story that is making headlines. At 6:00 p.m., officials sent Ruzira over Karamoja cash. Now, this is quite interesting. After the Mawati, we are seeing such a scenario. That means we have to look into our officials and, question why such instances are really happening concurrently, one after the other. It's quite challenging for the citizens.
Absolutely true. Now, of course, here RDC is warned against bribery. That's why they shouldn't charge people any amounts of money when it comes to service delivery. Yes, of course, that's what they are meant to do. You're supposed to serve the community at a fee because the government pays you money. Then why you charge people money once again. Now, of course, here the Global Anglican Church attacks as the Anglican, actually it is the Global Anglican Church body attacks Canterbury. That is over homosexuality. Yeah, we'll be taking out more of that, more of those details. Of course, still we see further as you get almost a few pages away, you'll see the 53 trillion budget which is going to be delivered today. More details are really broken down in here. If you're really very interested to find out what the budget will be entailed, well, you'll be checking out that more. Then, of course, we see here a driver in video clash with a traffic police officer arrested. Of course, you saw it making rounds on over the social media about this guy that, the traffic officer actually wanted to get off the number plate of the car. Yes. And this person just used force. Of course, rumor has it, allegedly, that he was taking a patient. Well, but we don't know how far that is. But of course, you get more further details when you get yourself a copy, as the investigations are really dwelling further. And maybe before Mercy gives us what's happening in the Daily Monitor, we see 5,400 older persons to benefit, if that is from the 5 billion shilling grants. Of course, to further improve the protection of the welfare of older persons, the government is set to disperse of That is 5 billion Ugandan shillings to 520 verified groups of older persons. What do we have next, Mercy?
Well, of course, we have the case of the 6 OPM officials who were actually sentenced over Karamoja Cash. And of course, this story, it says the 6 staff working in the office of the Prime Minister were last evening remanded to Rwenzira over alleged corruption of funds. You see, if you see such a statement coming, other means we are in need of God's mercy right here. Funds meant for Karamoja peace developing activities. You know, the Babatis were also for Karamoja.
Yeah, true.
I don't know why people are taking advantage of Karamoja people. Soon enough, we shall see them up in arms and fighting for their rights. But anyway, Yuvos commits to equality in census. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics and the Equal Opportunities Commission have signed a memorandum of understanding that will ensure that all vulnerable groups are captured in the next population census slated for August. That is a few months actually, July, just 1 month from now, of course. And government is working on improving the copyright law. That is according to General Kachumba Wamala, the Transport and Works Minister. So if you are, thinking of copyright, then we're rest assured that the government is working hand in hand. Of course, Ugandans have given their expectations on the national budget that is going to be read actually today. It's quite interesting for you to involve our day-to-day people and
very true.
What to expect, because they contribute.
But some aspect, I would be okay with Ugandans expecting what they expect from the budget, because I don't think ever since the appropriation bill was passed by Parliament 3 weeks back, if you're somebody that actually is interested to find out, you'll already, it won't be for you, okay, there won't be need for you to first wait for the budget to be read and you say, this is my expectations. By now, every person knows, because it doesn't change. It's not going to change. Whatever amount of money is there. But it's okay, I understand. Not so many people are exposed to when it comes to obtaining information. And that can be really absolutely understood. And it's very also important and pretty for if people come out and express what they feel about the budget.
Now, experts have come up and said that the new budget must cut cost of living. Why? Because if it is to make sense to ordinary Ugandans, that is according to the economists and of course households. Now, Mr. Fred Muhumuza, an expert with economic policy, said that of course these prices of groceries are likely to remain high despite the latest good news of reducing inflation, of course, with the taxations that are going to be imposed on some goods. And of course, we shall find ways. That is why we seek opinions from Ugandans, from day-to-day people, so that, it gives us, it gives the finance ministry on a way forward,
Very true.
on how to, maybe the next year, how to improvise and improve,
Absolutely.
It's quite understandable. You may not know what the budget is all about, but then you can have something to talk about. Yeah, according to you, how you've been affected and force what government needs to do so that, they can be just. I use just because, there has to be justice.
Okay. Of course, Father, here we see the legendary, that is Katoluwama buried with a guitar in there. Well, something, you get more details right there to get to understand how it works out. But he was buried with his guitar, loving, that's how much he had the passion when it comes to arts. Now, of course, Uganda and East African community stage unlock access to European Union markets. Of course, it's been quite some time when they weren't accessing these markets, of course, due to some related bureaucracies that are associated in there. But now they're doing the best to revive that back, and some of the commodities they're going to be traded within from Uganda going into the East African countries going to be horticulture related aspects, products rather. There is coffee and also avocado. Yes.
Of course, for those that missed out on the Northern Uganda tour, you can catch up A lot of stories are in here in the Daily Monitor. You can get to read of people's experiences as they toured northern Uganda, and it says here it was quite an interesting adventure.
Sure.
You know, people went to places, they saw wild animals, they were in the water. It was definitely quite interesting.
Okay, well, right about now, let's cross over and take a look at what's happening into the world of traffic. And of course, the images you're taking a look in there are coming in all the way. That is from the fairway traffic lights. Yes, according to the look of things, but it seems to be mildly congested. Actually, it's not congested. So if you're coming in from the areas and probably you're planning to link up to that area, chances are high that you will be able to reach in the required time. Like how you ought to reach. It's quite a friendly lane. Of course, I'm looking at the John Babiha route there. It seems to be a little bit much more smooth, according to the look of things I'm observing. Yes, so if you're coming in from areas, you're coming in from Kamoche, you know, actually majority of the people use that route, coming in from Kamoche and so many other related places. You can actually come up here. You'll be able to reach in time and go to the city center, you know, do what you ought to do. Of course, you may not be even going to the city center. You may be going to other destinations. You could be even going to the Sezwa route, which is just adjacent to that. You'll also be in position to reach the required time appropriately. So it's okay. Of course, I'm taking a look at the vehicles that are coming in from Wandegea, Mulago, roundabout, all the way. It's still a smooth lane, but definitely the traffic officers on ground to make sure that there is absolute discipline absolute discipline on the road to avoid accidents. Early morning accidents are quite not good and they're quite disastrous, most especially when it comes to your productivity as a person. Yeah. So that is the situation as we observe it there. Quite a calm one. Quite a very, very calm one. So for those that are coming in from, you could be coming in from Makere, around Makere, coming in from areas like Chikuni, Wandegea, and you have a plan to head towards, maybe you're heading towards Chibuli. Yes, the only challenge that you might incur probably, if most especially now for those that are coming in from the Lago, is that roundabout that might delay you a little bit. But if you're coming in from a Akere route, you can just cross over to the YMCA route and link up straight. You'll be able to catch the jam. You know, if you're coming in to Chibuli, you can actually pass via that route and connect to this very route opposite the Seziwa route. You see that route? Yeah, you'll be able to connect effectively there, and life will be okay. It will be okay because we always try to find ways we can access the routes the right way. So that is how it is like. That is the situation like at the fairway traffic lights. Now what we're observing in there is the Seziwa route. Yeah, Seziwa route, of course, connecting all the way to Nakasero. It's always lightly congested, no vehicles, because it's mainly a business. It's a corporate place. Many corporations have headquarters in there. So probably that could explain. And of course, some vehicles that are heading there are not heading there necessarily for the sake of, because that's where they're going to, like work related aspects. But it's also one of the routes you can use to link to the city center, because in there it's always free. There is no congestion, there is no jam, so it can be a time-saving aspect for you as a business person, most especially if you're coming in from areas that are likely to connect you to the fairway traffic lights in that way. Yes, of course, now observing the Yusuf Lule route, which links all the way to the Nile Avenue. It's free as always, and in most cases, once the vehicles are held in those intervals of 3 to 5 minutes, it doesn't really, it's always a friendly approach and a friendly perspective in there as you observe it. And in most cases, they're being held by the traffic lights. The traffic officers don't really have much control over them, apart from, of course, the rest of the routes. You can see it's quite very dry. So if you're coming in from Chibuli and you're heading to Wandegea, you're coming in from areas like Bugolobi, you could be even coming in from Nakawa, and you're planning to head towards Wandegea, you're heading to Mulago. Yeah, it's going to be easy for you. It's going to be very easy for you, actually. You're not going to find lots of hardships, but probably for easier aspects to avoid the route at the Mulago roundabout, If you're coming in from Chigulu, you can directly link up with the Zanzibar route, connect to Fairway, and you'll be able to land somewhere friendly where you won't be, of course, given hard time. You won't have to wait for quite a very long time. Those long lines, so many other aspects which are related to that. So that is the situation like there. And of course, the overall observation is it's a calm place, and if any area that you're connecting to and it's leading you to this area, I could give you my word that it won't largely affect you. But of course, you have to watch out for the areas that proceed, areas that come before these areas. Now, like the John Babiha route, I know it for having quite a number of traffic lights, and some of them tend to have quite longer times when it comes to holding back vehicles. And sometimes if you're not patient enough, well, you could find yourself driving other ways, which might impact you in the long run. So that is it for the traffic updates. It's 27 minutes past 7, and that is the situation around the Fairway traffic light. Well, now we're going to get into the break, but before we get there, don't forget the markets on the Zabo platform, which will be opening any time from now. Now, for you to be a part of them, simply dial *292#. It's the only option for you there, which will avail you with these aspects where you'll be able to buy government bonds, securities for as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, the markets will be opening at 8:15 a.m. and closing at 3:15 p.m. Yes, 8:15 a.m. closing at 3:15 p.m. East African time, effective Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends with the public holidays when these markets are inaccessible. You can access them. But despite the fact that now, like this week, there hasn't been any public holiday. So there has been time plenty for you, and now you're still left with today and tomorrow for you to really make yourself some good money. So what are you waiting for? Be a part of this move. It's quite very interesting, and I mean, it's the 21st century. I'm talking about business stocks and company stocks. Why wouldn't you own one? Zab made this a reality. Now, Zab simply says, my money, my future, and all Tech East Africa tells you, do something new for yourself. Well, right about now, let's get into the break, and definitely when we return, we shall be taking a look at what's happening into the world. That is Caribou East Africa business-related stories around East African community, and also winding it up with the international community, but all in terms of business.